Time now to check out Yamaha's general-purpose leader bike it calls an R1 for the real world, the 2002 FZ1. The reason for the R1 reference is because the FZ1 is highly derived from Yamaha's racetrack-ready 2000-2001 model year R1. The benefit of the crossbreeding is that buyers get a fairly close to purebred animal with the heart of a champion at a store-bought price. At the heart of this puppy is the 2000 R1 engine, complete with cams, valves, and 6-speed gearbox. However, a redesigned cylinder head fed by smaller side draft carbs help make the motor a little more streetable. That motor is then bolted to a steel cradle-type frame that utilizes a 43mm fully adjustable fork and 298mm brakes up front. While out back, you'll find bolted to the frame an aluminum swing arm and a 4-into-1 X-Up equipped exhaust system, capped with a stainless steel muffler. So how does it all work? Well, we invited Steve Bradford recently to sample this new crossbreed of naked bike, and here's what he had to say after running with the big dogs.
So Steve, Yamaha launched this bike last year and announced it as sort of the R1 for the real world. Well, today was the real world. What were your first impressions?
Very impressed with this motorcycle. Lots of motor, sleek styling. It fits my motif just about precisely.
Okay, well, let's start with that motor. It's sort of a detuned version of an R1 engine. This one is regularly carbureted or regularly aspirated, if you will. The R1 has fuel injection. Any differences? Did you like it, not like it?
I love the feel of a carburetor, a really well-jetted carburetor.
And what about in terms of the torque and the power, the delivery, smoothness?
This is a very forgiving motor around town. It's very mellow sort of in town. Yeah, when you get out on the open road with it, I mean, look out, it's an eye-opener. It really pulls hard.
Well, with 1,000 cc's, you know it's got a lot of go. What about those brakes? Did they provide the stop?
Well, those are R1 source brakes, and they really have a lot of initial bite, a lot of progressive build and power, and there's a good feel at the lever.
And what about the transmission, the clutch activation, anything there?
Clutch is really quite light at the lever. Maybe it's margin, not quite butter, but very good. Some people prefer it.
I would say I prefer it because it seemed very positive. When you clicked the gear, you knew you were there.
I've never missed a shift today, just jumped on and went.
How did you find the wind protection, the saddle, the comfort zone?
I really like it. There's lots of room for your legs. Your knees aren't kinked up too tight like maybe a pure sport bike. Obviously the handlebars are quite a lot higher here. You'll see they're not clip-ons. It's an actual old style handlebar. I like to say the position is quite open. You're not got any major pressure points on your body.
Did that screen provide enough protection?
It was really hot, and I enjoyed the fact that the wind was coming around it. Perhaps spring and fall, I'd want a little bit more wind protection.
Now, what about the cockpit layout and the mirrors and just, you know, the feel of the indicators and all that stuff?
Everything looks right. The instruments where you would expect them to be. And here, maybe I'm dating myself again, but I actually prefer analog gauges. The mirrors, they look quite wide set, but I did see a little bit of my shoulders in them. But everything else, the switch gear was exactly where I expected it to be and operated very smoothly.
And a nice riding position overall.
Excellent all-day machine.
I know you really like to go sort of high-speed cornering. Did it handle nicely?
It's a great handling motorcycle, yeah. It comes into the corners, you can pick your line, you can make corrections mid-corner, come onto the brakes gently and scrub some speed if you need to, get on the throttle. The chassis never gets upset and it's just very forgiving.
What do you think of the look of the bike, the paint, the fit, the finish?
Overall, the fit and finish I think is really nice. The saddle is very comfortable. The paint is thick, rich, and lustrous looking. Being half faired, you're seeing what I think is sort of an insect look. It's poised, ready to strike, and,
right.
the motor backs that up. It appeals to the retro flavor possibly of somebody that rode 10, 15, 20 years ago. And the motor obviously is real world today. I mean, it's exciting.
Well, thanks for coming out and joining us today, Steve. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Thanks.